When you picture a daily driver, maybe your first thought is something boring, slow, automatic, and ugly. But in reality, getting a daily can be way more fun than walking into a dealership, finding a car so typical and boring it makes you question the point of life, then walking out and saying,
"We have an Accord."
So if you're looking to add a fun manual transmission to your commute, here are the 7 best manual American dailies. Let's get into it. Let me know in the comments if I missed any good ones. Here's my usual car info disclaimer. Check out my best daily V8s video if you're interested in those too, and leaving a like so this video does well, so more people buy manuals, so more manuals are made again, and we save the manuals is always very appreciated. Now, as the first car for today, we've got what I'd guess is the most popular manual sporty daily driver, and it's mainly the 3rd gen Ford Focus STs, but also the base manual Focuses. When it comes to these, if you had the choice of either owning one with the terrible automatic transmission or being locked in a cage with a crocodile for 5 minutes, you'd probably wind up losing an arm with your pants full of an unpleasant brown substance as you scream uncontrollably. Better than dying in a cage with a crocodile, but it still sucks. As soon as you replace the pathetic power shift automatic transmission though, these Focuses with the 4-cylinder engines can be really reliable, and from what I saw, the 3 cylinders in them aren't bad either. The bases are the easiest to find, but I think if you had the money and wanted a small upgrade, the STs seem like an awesome all-arounder deal too, and I even just saw a clip of Big Daddy Doug saying if he had $10K to spend on the car, it'd be an ST, so you know it's the right answer. If you had more cash though, sadly you'd need like $30K, Focus RSs are also awesome cars all around, and those give you a highly praised all-wheel drive system, so when everyone else is like, oh no, it's gonna snow 5 inches and then freeze and then snow 3 more inches, how am I gonna drive? You can hike up your little whitey tighties, grab your keys and say, showtime. If I wasn't so obsessed with having an SUV to abuse like a truck, I'd highly consider an ST as my next daily, and even then, I'm probably at least going to test drive one when the time comes, and for most people, the hatchback should definitely have enough space. If you want less space though, the manual Fiesta Base and ST are also highly spoken of as reliable dailies, especially the 4 cylinders. They get great gas mileage, and we're only offered as manuals with the 3 cylinders, which are impressively slow. Nice. Next up is many cars, and I know I do this maybe more than I should, but these deserve to be grouped together. It's basically most versions of the big 3 muscle cars since the S197 Mustangs came out, which includes the S197s, S550s, 5th and 6th gen Camaros, and Challengers, also including basically any trim of these besides V6 Challengers because none of those had manuals. But otherwise, you get great styling with any of these, a million engine options, and there's tons of potential for any of them to make it exactly what you want. They're basically all said to be reliable by owners from what I see, and they each have their own pros and cons and reliability quirks, but if you do your homework with any of them before buying, you should absolutely be happy with what you get. People love to be like, all insert muscle car here are trash and will blow up, without any reason or facts. And whenever someone does that, I just say, you need to leave! You need to leave! You need to leave! But when you look past that, any issues that these have are manageable if you like the car, and it's not worth worrying about what other people think. If you like having a lot of space, obviously these wouldn't be ideal, but they also probably have very similar amounts of space to many typical commuters anyway. You'll also lose out on fuel economy with a V8, but if you've got the cash for a higher price and gas and insurance costs, then miles per gallon, it could be more important than miles per gallon. As the third car here, we've got the Cadillac CTS-V. Look, I would have loved to only include the Gen 2s and tell you there's at least one for sale in every zip code, but sadly the V2s aren't all that common with a manual. That being said, somebody's gotta own them. Delivery's a thing if you're feeling extra lucky, and I like them so much I had to keep them as the main one. If I had moderately big bucks and wanted a fun daily sedan, this is almost definitely what I'd go with. They have fantastic LSA engines, look great especially to the people who know what they are, and they're an awesome blend of power, sound, and luxury. I almost feel like I'm interviewing to be a car connoisseur, but it is all true. Cars and Bids actually seems like a good place to look for these, but if you don't have the extra cash or feel like waiting to find a V2, the V1s are also pretty great cars for the price and are easier to find. These had LS6s in 04 and 5, which were changed to 6-liter LS2s for 06 and 07. So basically, the engine in these will still be powering burnouts someday when you're hanging out in a nursing home. But if me talking about either of those made you and your overflowing wallet feel personally offended, there's also the CT4V Blackwing with its twin-turbo V6, CT6, and CT5 Blackwing with its honkin' 668 horsepower supercharged V8. I feel like the next manual daily is one I've talked about a few times recently, so I'm not going to spend too long on it, but it's the Ford Ranger. Around me, manual Rangers are pretty hard to find at dealerships, but common enough on Marketplace. As automatics, these are popular, affordable, reliable daily drivers, and when you toss in a manual transmission with any of the engines instead, they seem even more liked and more reliable since the manuals are simpler. The only downside people point out for the manual is that it's got a lower towing capacity, so you probably couldn't drive your mom around anymore. Now is another one with the same type of exciting stuff that'll give you a nice fizzing sensation. It's the Chevy SS. These may be pretty expensive and also not easy to find, but how could you argue with the good-looking interior, decent exterior looks, great modding potential all around, and the beautiful masterpiece we all call an LS3 under the hood?
So good and tasty.
These are out there though, and when it comes to modern manual V8 sedans, you don't have many options besides the CTS V1s and V2s and CT5 Blackwings, but all those Blackwings I see are 80 grand or more. And like I think I've said once before, if the alternative to finding one of these for 30 to 35 grand is getting a $15,000 daily and a $20,000 fun car, the cost isn't really as crazy as it seems. Speaking of caddies though, next is what many people would call a much more sensible sedan since it's got half the cylinders the SS does. It's the 13 to 19 2-liter turbo ATS. There were a good number of configurations of these, but the manuals were only offered in the turbo 4 cylinders that were paired with rear-wheel drive. I've read the pre-2016s had some piston issues, but after that was fixed, they're said to be pretty reliable. On their own, ATSs are easy to find for sale, but if you were to only look for a manual one, it'll take a little longer to find the one. If you've got a higher budget, say twice as much or more, you could also look for a manual Cadillac ATS V. These are another one where on CarGurus, along with the manual SSs, they look like they don't even exist, but on Cars and Bids, admittedly from recent complete auctions, it's very possible to find them. I won't lie, I even teared up a little bit when I saw V2s selling for like 10K less than boring SUVs people I know have bought in the last few years. And as maybe the least expected car here, we've got the 13 to 14 Buick Regal GS. Looks-wise, I can't really tell how I feel about these. Half of me likes the way they look, half of me thinks the front end looks like its cheeks are getting squished together, and half thinks these front vents make it look like the big evil dude in Mulan. Oh, wait. These are technically Opel insignias with Buick badges, and I don't know much about Opels on their own, but these are decently reliable, even though the Buick name hurts that reputation a little. These also have decent interiors, although I'm not too crazy about how tall the middle of that wheel is, and they're not too slow for the prices they go for. They get 270 horsepower out of the turbo 2-liter engine, which is not bad for the age, but also probably,
Don't say it.
probably not enough to carry your mom around. Quick foreign honorable mentions are plenty of BMWs, Audis, and VWs, especially GTIs and GLIs. American honorables are 13 to 20 Fusions, which did have some manuals with the 1.6 liters, but barely any. Wrangler Sports, which seem to have hit or miss reliability. GTOs, which are awesome all around, but less practical. And Lincoln LSs, which some people love, but others really hate. Like, a lot. Let me know what manual car you would daily and what good ones I missed here. As always, thank you very much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.